Welcome to the Swimming from Home talk show. I'm here in a dream roundtable situation with two of my most esteemed colleagues. We have head coach of the Cal men's swim team, Dave Durden, and we have PhD in and out of the pool, Wyatt Hodges.
If I wave, can people see that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So I guess, you can both answer this question. What is the swimming situation for you currently?
Yeah, for us, we're taking just kind of a week to really focus in on our moral and social responsibility, putting our athletic responsibility on the back burner. And it's crazy, Coleman. I mean, it's kind of week to week as things have gone on, everything is changing. Everything has changed. So 2 weeks ago, we were supposed to go to NCAA. So a week ago, we were getting ready for Olympic trials, Olympic games, and now here we are, and those two things are off the books for this calendar year. So we're taking just a little time. We're not resetting. We're not restarting. I feel like we're in a great spot as a group with our athletes. So we're gonna take a week and then really kind of figure out how that athletic responsibility sort of integrates into our social and moral responsibility right now in this ever changing world that we're living in, within our county, within our state, within our nation, within our globe. So we're really just trying to work through that through this week, and then have a plan in place that'll take us through 2021.
Yeah. What?
Situation in Albuquerque, tiny bit different. UNM's pool is totally closed at least until April 5th. Let's see, I can swim at a pool on the Air Force Base sometimes. That's totally closed. Gyms are totally closed. So I am just trying to figure out kind of a routine, between stationary bike, running, whatever kind of dry land I'm able to do without access to any sort of gym or anything. Just trying to create a little bit of a new normal as I continue to try and stay in good shape and try and do my job.
Yeah.
Colin, we were joking about this earlier before we went live and started recording this, but I can send out some ankle weights to Wyatt on his stationary bike. We can get a snorkel and tape the top of it, punch some small holes in it, and make it a little more challenging for him. And his it's reminiscent of his epic get out swims at Cal. So Wyatt, let me know what you need out there, and I can whip you into shape pretty quickly.
I will do it, Dave. Fortunately, I'm already at altitude, so I got a little bit of that working for me.
So speaking of altitude, Dave, you were, I believe, at the OTC when kind of everything started shutting down, I guess. Can you tell me a little bit about what that experience was like?
Yeah, so just kind of a little more of a background on the timing of that. We had our Pac-12 championships the same time as the Des Moines Pro Series was going on, and we sent our undergrads out to the Pac-12 championships. Our pro guys went out to Des Moines, and as we came back to the Bay Area after Pac-12s, our pro athletes went out to Colorado Springs, and that was kind of per our plan, per our schedule. They were meant to be there for 15 days, and then as they were going to come off of that camp, they would be back in Berkeley while we were at NCAAs, and then sort of all join up at the end of March, 1st of April to sort of integrate and get back going towards Olympic trials. So always kind of a part of our schedule was for me to go out after our Pac-12 championships the Wednesday through Saturday out to Colorado Springs just to check in on those guys. I didn't want to go 4 weeks without seeing them race, without seeing them train, get a good feel for where that group was currently at, and then be able to work with one of our assistant coaches, Kevin Rapine, who's been doing a phenomenal job with that pro group really since last fall. He's been phenomenal. And so I was out there for a period of time, but I wasn't out there when things started to get a little bit sideways with sending everybody home and such. And we were a little bit independent of the national team camp that was out there. I mean, our camp, we were working just with our guys. So it was a little bit easier to sort of coordinate, shift, be able to pivot. We were a smaller group, so we could be a little more nimble in terms of what we were doing, what we were trying to do. But it's very similar to where we are now, where every day it was a little bit different. It started out that first week where we were able to get off campus, get a little short course training in. And then as we got to the second week of our camp, it's like, okay, we've got to hunker down. We've got to stay on campus. And so it sort of escalated pretty quickly. And luckily we were able to get our guys back home to Berkeley, safe and sound, healthy, and really kind of continued on with what we were doing up until recently.
Yeah. As you know, you're obviously the head coach of a team that was going to contend for a title, the defending champions. You know, Wyatt is a swim fan. Have you had time to process?
Wyatt's not a swim fan. He's an awesome swimmer.
Well,
don't label him that way. Come on.
I think for this question, he is a fan because I am asking about processing, you know, the cancellation of NCAAs.
Sure.
You know, what?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting, right? I mean, I did feel like we're in a really good spot coming off of our conference championships and heading into NC2As with our squad that we had, with the group that we had. And I think what was one of the challenging things is as that news was sort of building through that week, the week after our conference championship, towards cancellation of the NC2A championships. I think the toughest thing for me as a coach was not to physically be there with our guys. Again, I mean, I was out in Colorado Springs as that cancellation came out, and again, you know, we have a great staff. You know, Chase was back home with those guys. You know, kind of you know, walking them through you know, where we were, next steps, etc. And I, you know, called each of our seniors on the phone out in Colorado Springs and just spoke to them. And it's at that moment that I felt like I was a million miles away from them, because you certainly want to be there for our guys. And Wyatt can, you know, kind of speak to this, having been within our group and having been around our guys. It's, you know, we have smart guys on the Berkeley campus. You know, Wyatt, despite Wyatt, we have smart guys in our group, and it's. And so they get the social and moral responsibility piece. It still doesn't take away the sense of loss that they had, the sense of work, cumulative work that they had put together for that particular moment, and that opportunity to showcase it. I still, you know, as I told our guys, we went to bed on Wednesday night. You know, we felt awesome about where we were in our season and what we were about to accomplish, and that shouldn't change as we went to bed on Thursday night. That opportunity was taken away from us, but we still should feel very good about where we are and where we're headed. For most of that group, it's just a reshift of their focus to Olympic trials in June. And you know, as that has now shifted again, it's like you know, we're nimble enough as a group, and adaptability is something that you have to be really, really good at in Berkeley, and so we're adapting to that, to the new normal that we're in right now in terms of our ever-changing athletic culture and our social and moral responsibility, as well as just kind of refocusing our efforts into 2021. He's been saying 2020 a lot. You know, to say 2021, it just doesn't quite roll off the tongue. And it's funny. I had a call with Murph right before getting on this Skype call, and I kind of called all of our guys that were in training and just talking through sort of next steps, etc. And it doesn't necessarily change in terms of what I told him this, like, in kind of a weird way. I'm excited about kind of working through this process moving into 2021, because it's a little different, and I think it starts to kind of spark, as a coach, some of the creativity that you can have in this particular situation, where you're not moving through a summer with a major meet at the end of the summer. That's, you're moving through this summer and a little more sort of a long-term focus towards 2021, and how you sort of handle that and do that, I think is important. And it's, in a weird way, I'm excited about that, about working through some of those different challenges and working through that creativity. At the same time, I mean, it is sobering to see what's going on in our country, in our county, in our state. And that's at the forefront of our minds right now. But as I look at it through an athletic lens, so to speak, it's exciting to kind of work through the uniqueness of this situation.
Yeah.
That was a lot of talking by me. Wyatt, what do you got as a swim fan? You want me to take over the interview on this? Wyatt, what do you got as a swim fan?
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things that what Dave was saying kind of just reminded me about is things that I've talked to people around me a lot recently, and just kind of you have two perspectives, right? You have the big picture perspective of there is a global pandemic happening, and like Dave's been saying, we all do have a lot of social responsibility, and there is a lot of really important things to think about in that big picture. But it's hard sometimes just to hold that mindset with the mindset of, but I have, guys that I'm close to. I have good friends that were about to go to their NCAA championships their senior year, and that it's just sad. There's a big sense of loss with that. And again, that sense of loss is just, sometimes it's really hard to reconcile with the knowledge that, yes, there is a bigger picture. Yes, there is so much more going on than just me, my friends in swimming, there's just so much more. And so it's hard to watch as a swim fan, even if I know that, like, Coleman, you and I talked about this, like, I truly believe that canceling NCAA championships was the right decision from the nation's perspective. Even if I know that doesn't make it easier, knowing that, those seniors that I've known for a lot of years, they did get something. It's not taken away from them isn't the right phrasing, but that they lost something. And it's hard. And I have some of the same kind of senses in, maybe my personal life. Like, maybe there's trips I wanted to take, maybe there's meets that I wanted to go to this year. Maybe there's stuff that I wanted to do that now I'm not able to, even though I know that, it's important that I not do those things. It's still just hard to either watch or experience.
Yeah, certainly. And so pivoting from kind of that loss. So Dave, I'll come back to you, and you touched on this obviously, but being the head Olympic coach for the men's team, and having it shifted a year, it's like, I think you spend a lot of time creating this 4-year plan and focusing on this summer. And you said, the creative juices have kind of started already flowing. But did you have an initial reaction to, this announcement that the Olympics are postponed? Do you, aside from kind of getting creative with the coaching, maybe more on the logistical side, have you started formulating a plan moving forward? Are you even still the head Olympic coach?
I don't know. That's a good question. I got to look at my contract, and see if I still am. I may have to reapply for that. Or they may have had enough of me over the last, 14, 15 months where they're like, no, we're not going to, we're going to give it to somebody else. And that's, that's fine too. But it's hard to plan for something when we don't know where it is. Although geographically we know where it is, we don't know when it is. So that's going to, not necessarily we're going to go through the whole process again. We certainly don't hope. I think we had a good plan in place for what we're doing, and it's always hard to be the head coach of a team that's not formed yet. So it's my role and responsibilities with that were definitely in the periphery and definitely on the outside, and until we kind of got closer, moved through trials, we formed a team, and then we form a staff and we move through that. But I don't think really anything changes. I think I had said this one time, maybe when I was out at Pac-12. I mean, I am very much relying on the expertise and the abilities and the coaches and the great coaches that we have in our country to prepare their athletes to be successful. Now that was going to be geared towards 2020. And so now it's the same thing that, that I'm doing, that I think coaches, around the country are doing, are just taking a deep breath, pausing, kind of shifting the focus. And next week we'll most likely have more information on where or when that meet will be, and how we're going to handle our trials. If not in 1 week, certainly in 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, whatever it may be. And we'll kind of gear up and get after it. We talk a lot as a country about our trials being the most challenging setting to make an Olympic team in, and how that adversity and how that sort of meat grinder, so to speak, that you move through in a meet creates creates a team that's better, because we have to go through that. And I think this is a moment as a country, when we look at an athletic team to go through this moment, to go through these next, whatever it may be, 12 months, 8 months, 10 months, 14 months, whatever it may be, to go through this as a group and come out on the other end after our Olympic trials. I think it's going to make us even stronger as a group as we head into Tokyo.
Yeah. One other quick question. Are the Cal men able to swim right now?
We are, but we're not choosing to. So I just want to be clear on that. We have a phenomenal leader in our athletic director, and Jim Knowlton, who's done a great job with our campus, University Health Services, City of Berkeley, Environmental Health Services, to be able to have protocols and procedures in place to be able to do what we need to do. Our chancellor has been phenomenal with that as well. It's a challenging time for everybody. It's a challenging time within our county for this to happen, but we have protocols in place and health screenings in place for our athletes and coaches that enter the facility. Our group is smaller by nature right now anyway, with it being, we're rolling into spring break and like most universities around the campus, going to online education. So our group is a little bit smaller. It's a little more of our Olympic trial type group, type athletes that are in. So we've been very fortunate with that. But we're even before this news sort of came out, we took a pause and they said, I'm not going to use the word we're going to reset or restart, because we feel very, very good about where we are, and I don't want to reset. I don't want to restart. I want to continue on with where we've been. We're putting at the very, very forefront of our mind our kind of our moral social responsibility. And then we're going to, kind of use next week to figure out how to integrate our athletic responsibility into that.
Yeah, gotcha. So Wyatt, Olympic question, as a postgraduate who wants to continue swimming, is gunning for a third Olympic trials, has this, changed your perspective at all about your swimming or what your goals might be moving forward?
Coleman, that's a great question. I want to hear that.
Thank you.
I think it's an interesting question. I, for a little over a year, I've not been in school anymore. I'm at a for real job where I'm working 40 hours a week, and that's, it's different. It just changes my perspective on my swimming a little bit. So right now, I guess I think every year in the last quad has been like a year by year. Let's reevaluate if I want to keep going, reevaluate if I want to keep, trying to train for a third Olympic trials. And so I actually kind of have a similar mindset here, where it's just like, I don't really, again, we don't know when trials are going to be. We don't know anything about that. And so I kind of feel like I have to wait and see. I think it is important to try and, Dave, you did mention this a little bit earlier, just, to get excited about, some new creative things that we might be able to do when we're in a different situation. And so right now I'm actually mostly just excited about, I get to do some different things. I had not run in many, many years, but I'm trying that out a little bit more. I haven't done kind of intense body weight, dry land kind of exercises in, I don't know how long, but, trying that again and trying to build a little bit more athleticism. So when I do get back in the pool, which I certainly plan on doing, I can just see what's there and see what makes sense for me to do when I am able to get back into the pool. And hopefully that does mean, qualify for a third Olympic trials and try and compete there.
Yeah.
Kind of a non-answer, but.
I mean, I think there's a lot of non-answers right now. I think it certainly seems like a time of a lot of non-answers. But, maybe for the two of you, some answers you've found. I know, all this time at home, some of the people I've talked to, it's given time, have spoke on the reflections that they've been able to have either on the past or how they want to move forward into the future. Have you guys, reflected at all on swimming, non-swimming, made any kind of realizations or set new goals for yourself either today, tomorrow, moving into the future?
I mean, for me, Coleman, that's tough because every day is a little bit different. And, it's having a responsibility over a group of guys who've been, for me, it's been, really trying to keep them motivated, whether creativity, I can't even say the word, geez, being creative in their dry land and in their swimming, considering that we had, some limitations and what we could do, not do. So that was, kind of taking up a majority of my time. It wasn't like I haven't had that time to really kind of pause and reflect on things or think forward. It's been kind of day to day. And so it's been, but again, it's been fun to work through that and really kind of, dig into, okay, what's the most important thing that we need to be doing right now today. And then, next day, wake up and kind of, re-ask that question and design the work accordingly. So it's been kind of going. And even today, just kind of running through, little 15-minute phone calls with all of our guys. That ran up until my call with you. So, it hasn't really been, really haven't had the time to think too far forward or too far back about things. But I said this to our guys. I mean, I have enjoyed this last couple of weeks with them because I feel like in having to be nimble and having to shift and move, like as a group, there could be easily just, the negativity, kind of the short fuse, the tension, kind of overwhelms the excitement of what we're doing. But our guys have been like right along with us every step of the way. And that's been fun, right? It's been fun just to, they've kind of been going, all right, next thing. Okay, we can't do this. Let's do this. We trained out in Nathan Adrian and Will Copeland's pool for a couple days, which is a 4-lane, 25-yard pool, which is almost in a backyard, and it literally reminded me of summer league swimming, which was so fun, because guys are coming in, mowing the lawn, doing everything around the pool. And here we have, Reese Whitley swimming in the 3.5 deep, pool water. He stands up, he's at his knees. So it's just kind of fun things like that where you can step back and think about, hey man, that was kind of funny that we did that, and that was kind of memorable that we did that. And that's what we do is as coaches and swimmers is for those little memorable times, those little memorable moments, i.e. Wyatt swimming a 200 breaststroke with, socks and a chute and a weight belt on, trying to go under 5 minutes. So those are the things that we do and why we do it. That had no performance benefits whatsoever. It was purely entertainment.
What? I am shocked.
Yeah. But, and that's, I think that these little opportunities and moments make it fun for our guys to move through these situations, be creative in what we're doing and enjoy the sport, because you don't know when it's going to get taken away or a moment's going to get taken away. So enjoy it with who you're doing it with and while you're doing it, because it can change like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, when you're at home a lot, there's just a lot more time for a little bit of reflection and just thinking about, what's really important. Just seeing like as you have more time kind of away from the general stress of kind of daily life and racing from place to place, like what comes up, what thoughts come up, what feelings come up. For me, it's just kind of thinking about, I'm in an extremely lucky position where I can do my day job from home. Essentially it's unchanged. So again, I'm really lucky in that I've enjoyed working from home a lot. I'm a person who does well with kind of peace and quiet around me when I'm trying to really focus in on something, particularly like stuff that's technical in nature. So I've enjoyed that, and I've enjoyed kind of getting to think about, just think about the things that are important. Like, okay, what is actually the most important thing for me to do in my job right now? Because I'm not busy. My advisor, called it putting out fires. I'm not busy just tending to these immediate things which come up when you're in like an office kind of place. And with swimming, just kind of time away from the pool has just made me realize that I love everything about the sport of swimming. I love the physical release. I love how I kind of get an emotional reset when I'm able to, be in the pool every day. And so it's, a weird, maybe a little bit of a paradoxical thing that sometimes when you get away from something like a sport that you love so much, you remember all the things that are so good. And so just, I am in a situation where my training is less consistent than it had been in years past. And so it's easy to focus on, I'm not doing this exactly how I did it in the past. And so what's that going to look like? Is it going to affect my training? Is it going to be bad for my racing? Like what's going to happen? But there's less of that now that I'm away from the pool, and I just get to remember how awesome swimming is. Just everything about it. And, just getting to our social interaction is obviously more limited. In New Mexico, we do have a stay-at-home order from the governor. The lab that I work in isn't affected, but, everybody's at home a lot. And so that, that does mean that you kind of have to text some friends that maybe you haven't talked to in a little bit. And that's actually kind of nice just to even reconnect with people a tiny bit and just hear about, what's your day like? How's it going? What are you going through? And, this is obviously not some ideal situation, but that part has been nice for me as well.
Wyatt always has the most positive outlook about swimming. I can remember, I always tell this story about Wyatt to different guys. We were it was a Saturday morning. We were doing kind of some suited swims. It was a long course. He did a 200 breaststroke. I don't know if he broke. I shouldn't say the time.
No, you can't say the time. You can't say the time.
Can't say the time. Because as he came in on the last 50, and he was probably operating at about 40, 45 strokes on that last 50 of breaststroke.
At least.
The wall. And like even before he could get a breath, he just touched the wall and said, "We are never talking about this again. No, don't tell me my time," and just pushed off and started warming down easy. So to this point, I've never told him his time. It was probably the slowest 200 breaststroke that I ever witnessed. But not more than 2 months later, maybe 3 months later, Wyatt went off and was 101 and was at 216 in the 200 breaststroke, but you got disqualified. Although the celebration that you had was epic, and it was too bad that you got disqualified in that, because the celebration in and of itself should have overturned the disqualification.
I really wish that I could see a video of that race and that celebration. I haven't been able to find it, but it's probably pretty great. But yeah, I mean, one of the reasons for that is just kind of especially after 2016 Olympic trials. I was at like the end of grad school, and so I was having to balance, trying to finish my research, write a dissertation with keeping swimming competitively. And I think that there was something else of pressing importance in my life. And so swimming couldn't always be priority number one. And I think that really helped with helping me understand just the perspective of what swimming is, where it fits in. And when I wasn't putting so much pressure on myself that like swimming is the thing that matters the most in the world, I swim better if I let myself off the hook on that one. And I just get to go to the pool and love being there and enjoy it so much because, like I said, swimming is cool and fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, any closing thoughts from either of you?
No, I'll let the smartest guy in the pool answer the closing thought question. So Wyatt, take it away.
Just the stuff that I've been talking to people about lately is that, this is a really difficult time. Actually, my manager at work just keeps emailing us and saying, thank you for all that you're doing. We know this is hard. We know this is difficult. Just please, focus on what you're doing. Try and do it well. Take care of your business at work and at home. Do the best you can when this is extremely challenging. And she always closes it with saying that, she just appreciates all of us. And, I know that I appreciate everybody so much in my life. And I've been, trying in small ways to let them know that. So my perspective is be kind to each other. And this is all really hard.
And Wyatt, you're out there in New Mexico and there's these weird lights flashing behind you that you can't see. And I know that you have high level secret clearance. Is there something going on out there that you want to let us know what's going on behind you?
No, I believe that is a reflection from passing cars.
All right. I'm just asking.
That's a good question. It's a good question.
There's another one. You see? I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't position myself particularly well for the Skype call.
Okay. I'm just asking.
All right. Well, thank you both so much for your time. This has been a real treat for me personally.